1 year ago, I had just left my fiance. And those types of people look at people like me and people like you that we are like a little bit crazy. I'm actually going to tell the whole world everything that happened to you in ending your engagement with somebody that was... Welcome back, or welcome to Start Somewhere the podcast. My name is Isabelle Prestia. I'm your host. This is the show that has been around since 2020. We have been here for half a decade. Can you believe that? And the most beautiful part, well, many beautiful things, is that we have had the most loyal listenership since the beginning. There have been so many of you that have quite literally stuck by my side since the beginning. You have been here through so many of my life experiences, my challenges, my wins, my successes. And if you're new here, welcome. You're in for a wild, wild ride. This is the podcast where we speak about an array of different topics, ranging from mindset to business to marketing, a bit of manifestation, spirituality, and a whole lot of mindset. A whole lot of how you can turn basically any challenge, any setback, any breakdown into your best breakthrough, into your best win. And that is exactly what I did with my Start Again series. This was my exclusive, intimate email list where I revealed my diary entries. I revealed my journal entries from one of the weirdest time of my life. So if you are not on the list, first of all, what are you doing? If you are not on the list, that is the place you need to jump into right now to get up to date with everything. The comments, the conversations, the email replies, the messages, everything I've been conversing with all of you who are on the list. Oh my gosh, you are shocked, you're gasping, you're intrigued, you're crying, you're in complete disarray at the stories I share. And this is all true stuff. None of this is made up. And I think it's really beautiful that I'm now in a place, or I've been in this place for so long now. I'm at a place where I can really harness that whole experience into one epic story. And storytelling is something I've been so passionate about. And storytelling, truthfully, is why I adore marketing, and especially why I have this podcast as well. So for the listeners who have been here since the beginning, and at the same time, people who do find the show along the past 5 years, a lot of them start from episode 1. And a lot of you love the first 8 episodes, especially. I mean, I'm so young there and it feels like a lifetime ago. And the reason I know that you love them all so much is because I take you on a whole other journey. Like if you thought my email sequence was juicy, go back to the first 1 to 8 episodes of Start Somewhere the podcast and just prepare yourself, because storytelling is my jam, clearly, and we all go through weird, wacky, wild moments in our life. And my specialty, my power is, first of all, healing from that and moving so well. And then secondly, turning that into an epic story and creating content from that. And content with the purpose to not only entertain, but also to educate and to teach and to share. And I was on a walk yesterday and I was reflecting, what actually is my why for having the Start Somewhere podcast? And it truthfully is a way for me to share experiences and stories and setbacks and challenges and wins and amazing moments in my life with you, with the hope to either A, inspire you, or B, to teach you lessons and things that I wish I knew long before I had actually gone out and experienced that. I'm actually going to read, because I'm really just loving reading my journal and diary entries with you guys. It seems to be the thing I do recently. So I'm going to read exactly what I had written. One of the reasons why I have my podcast is so I can share stories and people can learn. They can learn and listen to my mistakes. They can learn and listen to what I wish I had done differently and how you can bypass all of that. I also love to teach and share with people how you can raise your frequency to attract anything in every single area of your life. I've got so many stories of the most phenomenal things I've pulled into my life. I manifested being engaged. I've manifested jobs. I've manifested moving. I've manifested boyfriends. I've manifested best friends. I've even manifested breakups before. And I'm here to shine the light on the priority of taking that messy action of all about starting somewhere. And if you've been in my coaching world before, if you've been a client, if you've joined us on a masterclass, if you've downloaded one of my programs before, I weave Start Somewhere into absolutely everything and anything that we do. I truly am a walking, talking embodiment of Start Somewhere. I always believe in starting 10 light years away before you even feel ready, because procrastination is actually fear in disguise. And I love that the clients I attract into my world, they wholeheartedly also live their life by Start Somewhere. So many of my clients are constantly quoting how they're just starting somewhere. They're quoting how they put in the reps, they start before they feel ready. And it's so phenomenal to see that this whole movement is no longer just about me and sharing my story and being like, yep, I went through this kind of shitty thing, but look at this really cool thing I alchemized and manifested and created instead. Instead, it's giving you that inspiration for you to be like, wait a minute, Isabelle shared that story and it either relates to you directly or indirectly. And that then gives you that inspiration, that boost, that energy to go forward and create anything and everything that you desire. And if that anything and everything that you desire is to do with marketing and business and branding and social media, that's where you then come into my coaching world. We either do mentoring, you go through one of my programs, my masterclasses, whatever is the best suit for you, if it feels aligned, of course. And that's exactly how I started. I've worked many 9-to-5 jobs. I've worked 9 to 5 for over 6 years. And every single time I've done that, I always use my 9 to 5 as my launch pad. I never looked at it as a limitation. I was always like, amazing, I'm working in the marketing industry. How can I leverage what I'm doing right now? How can I learn more skills? How can I network and meet more people? How can I expand myself so much more? And you best believe I've manifested every single job I've ever had. Are you even surprised? I manifest everything that I do. And it's so much of actually going out and putting the reps in is what I mentioned just before. So I really want to speak into this. My clients live and breathe this all the time, and I, of course, do as well. There's this really great analogy, this really great question actually that I have been asked quite a few times. If you knew you were 50 more no's away from getting to where you wanted to be, how fast would you go along that journey to receive those no's? It was going to take 50 times though. And this is where we essentially almost categorize people who hear that and they're like, let's go. I'm going to go down that path and receive as many no's as quickly as I can because I know number 51 is that yes. Or you're somebody who sees that or hears that and thinks, oh, what's the point? I'm not going to waste my time. What are people going to think of me? That fear of failure, fear of success, fear of being seen. I don't want people to see that messy action. I only want people to see me when I've grown up. I only want people to see me when I've made it. I don't want people to see me when I'm still in that in-between messy stage and people think I'm cringe and I think I'm cringe and I think people are judging me when in fact I'm judging me. That's what it is. I've realized that I used to compare myself so much, and I really can say this proudly and happily that I rarely compare myself to people these days. The only person you should ever be in comparison with, I want you to just take a guess on the answer I'm about to say. It's you. Be in comparison with you. Can you be better than who you were yesterday, last week, last month, last year? I love to do this constantly. I always think, where was I 1 year ago? Let's give you guys a snapshot just so you can be like, Isabelle's life moves incredibly fast. Okay, 1 year ago, it's the end of August 2025 as I'm recording this. 1 year ago, I had just left my fiance. I had just broken up. I was probably still wrapping things up with the lawyers because we had a house together. My name was in the deed. I was working a 9 to 5 at a marketing agency. I went back to live with my parents. I was working. I already said I was working at a marketing agency. I had pressed pause on my podcast. I was not taking any coaching clients. And compared to where I am today, I am in the sunny, beautiful Gold Coast, which is where I've been living since May. I live with 2 other housemates. I have pressed unpause on both my coaching and my podcast. I did that around January of this year. I am full-time in my business. I left that 9 to 5, obviously. I've moved up here. And for so long, I actually didn't give myself enough credit for how far I had come. I was always chasing the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. I almost wasn't allowing myself to feel satisfied or happy with where I was. And I didn't give myself that grace to catch my breath and be like, Isabelle, do you realize what has actually happened in your past 12 months? And that's the thing about me is I move rapidly fast because I start somewhere. I start way before I feel ready. And me moving out of Adelaide was such a shock to so many people. The Adelaide mentality is very small town kind of vibe, which I love it for. And at the same time, my life was still very perfect, even after all of that had happened. It was still very perfect. I lived in a beautiful home, a beautiful side of town. I had a great community around me. All my family, friends, was healthy, was doing well. Everything was perfect. And I remember when I started to tell certain people that I was moving, I remember I would get a very similar response from a like particular type of person, which was the married with young kids and didn't really have the big dream and vision to go out and do these things. And those types of people look at people like me and people like you, that we are like a little bit crazy because we're not following the path that is actually created for us, where you go to school, you go to university, maybe you get a job, you get married, you have a baby, you call it a day. Instead, I was like, okay, I've gone to school, I have my uni degree, I have the job, I was married, let's just throw that all away and let's go here instead. And let me embrace the most uncertain pathway of entrepreneurship and having my own business and having full trust and full certainty in myself that I can financially and emotionally and mentally support myself moving from Adelaide from my entire support network, moving up to the Gold Coast where I don't have a single family member up here. I have a handful of friends. I now have many friends up here. At the same time, I obviously had way more people back in Adelaide. And it was this self-trust within me. And I asked my mum this question the other day. I said, what's something really unique about me? And I was just curious. And she replied, your wavering positivity, even when it seems impossible. And that's the thing about me. I truly believe optimism requires incredible courage. It takes immense confidence and courage in yourself to be positive. And that's probably why so many of us sometimes forget and sometimes suffer with feeling positive. And this is a part of who I am, and at the same time, it's a part of how I've trained myself to be. You can train yourself to be and to become and to think in any way you desire. And that's the thing about me. I am doing so much of the inner work all the time. All the time. Whether it's a subconscious reprogramming meditation, whether it's a healing session, whether it's meditation, whether it's a breath work, whether it's journaling. And don't get me wrong, I do not get stuck in the I just need to heal phase. I've learnt over the years to have an insane amount of fun, and I am honestly always having fun when I'm doing the tiniest of thing. And that is a result of me finding the joy in the tiniest moments of life. And that, truthfully, my eyes anyway, is the epitome of a happy life. When you can find so much joy and fulfillment in waking up, doing your morning routine, going about your day, making your food, eating your food, driving, having a shower. If you can find beautiful moments of bliss and joy in those areas of your life, then I think you've won. And coming back to the Start Again series, it was the most intuitive idea. I didn't even plan to share this at all. Yet again, if I could go back in time to Isabelle last year and be like, hey, you're actually going to tell the whole world everything that happened to you in ending your engagement with somebody that was incredibly unfaithful and not who he says he was. There was so much of me that felt oh gosh, I don't want anyone to know about this. And that's the difference, where you can make these things your power. And that's what I did. And you best believe I healed. I did all the things, and I healed quite rapidly from that whole experience. And I truly believe, you know, it had to happen for whatever weird and wacky reason. I mean, it's an epic story, the resilience it gave me. And that's not what I want to talk at here. What I wanted to speak about is, if I knew that in a year I would have actually been writing those stories and sharing those intimate journal entries with the whole world, I'll be like, whoa, that's courage. And I remember when the idea came to me, it was a Friday evening, and it just came out of nowhere. It was just the most intuitive download I've ever experienced. And that's how so many of my creative endeavors happen. I create so much from my heart. I work so much with my higher self. And I mentioned, you know, we do go into spirituality here and there, and I love that side of me so much. And at the same time, I love the fact that I get these ideas and then I just go. And I feel that's the really beautiful balance of being in your feminine and being in your masculine. And that truthfully is such a big part of business and even just overall life. It's, can you sit in both? Can you equally slide between one and the other? Think of a pendulum swinging. Can you go from left to right, from your feminine to your masculine? And when I was writing these emails, I love to write so much. If you haven't already noticed, my writing style is beautiful. And I say that with so much confidence because it's something I've been perfecting and working on for years and years. I probably have over 50 journals since, 2017. And I love to write. And I'm going to be writing so many books. I've started so many books. It's just a matter of when they come out. And the point is, writing this email sequence was not only just, you know, a lead magnet or a way to get more people into my world. It was connection. It was for people to actually hear and read the story. And it was also for me to really find so much joy and pleasure in writing and seeing my craft and seeing all my emotion, all of my healed positive emotion come through the screen, come through my words. And of course, you guys just absolutely fell onto your knees when you were reading it. And the comments were not only that you were so shocked and intrigued and gasping and crying and in disbelief about the story, it was also the journey I took you on. And it was the comments and the feedback I was getting on how my writing style just took you on that journey with me and how it hooked you in and how it was just so decadent to read, I'm going to say. And it is, and it was. And if you're not on that list, you need to get your butt on there ASAP. And so launching this email sequence is so much more than an email sequence. It definitely is the start of a TV show. Just going to drop that in there, right there. It showed me how storytelling in your marketing is truthfully how you stand out from the crowd. No one can tell your story better than you. Anyone can go into ChatGPT and copy and paste and sound generic with those hyphens and robotic language. God, my 10-year-old cousin can do that. But you're better than that. You're above that. What you can do is learn the art of storytelling. Learn the art of storytelling in your marketing. And it's not about jumping on your Instagram story and blabbing about an experience you had with 20 slides that just has no hook or intrigue and people just tap by. It's creating that experience. It's creating the desire. It's what I say, setting the scene, setting the stage. I love this analogy. If a singer's going to announce a world tour, he's most likely going to give you months' notice. And it's creating that hype. It's not only to get ticket sales and figure out logistics, it's to create that awareness. It's to create that buzz. It's to create that anticipation, that conversation, that, oh my gosh, do you have tickets to see Justin Bieber? He's coming in 3 months from now. It's creating that excitement. Instead, people are so quick just to give everything all at once. And it's like a part of me knew that I would share and tell this whole entire story when I knew the timing was quote unquote right. And it wasn't this time last year because I was still very much in the thick of it. I was dealing with lawyers on my lunch break. I was still getting my possessions back. It was messy. And I wasn't definitely in the space to be as glowing as I am today. And it's all about creating, from doing this, we're creating this premium positioning is what I say as well. That indescribable desire and intrigue that make people hooked. I never thought I would use that word to describe my content and my words and my art. I'm going to call it art. That's what you guys were just repeating that constantly. In fact, I would share screenshots of your comments and your reviews and your messages to me, and you'd play along with the wording and be like, I am hooked as well. I agree with that other person you shared. I'm also intrigued. I'm also sitting at the edge of my seat. I'm also refreshing my inbox every single Monday, anticipating the next email drop. That's all intentional. It's all storytelling marketing. And it's why I'm creating and sharing with you how you can also do this, how you can also create your own storytelling marketing. And you don't need to have gone through a breakup or an engagement ending. Like me, it can be any story of your life. It can be something minor, it can be something way more major. But the point is, you're learning the art of storytelling. You're learning the art of this premium positioning I speak about, creating that bingeable brand that has people opening their Instagram just to look at your content. I get that message from you guys all the time. One lovely former client and podcast listener, Mel, shout out Mel if you're listening. She sent me a message the other day saying, I've gone off social media. I don't check it too often. The only time I do check it is to log on and to see your wonderful life, your magical life. And so imagine if your content could start creating community like that. And I share and I show this to inspire you. And I know the reason I cultivate and call in these messages is because I bring people with me on this journey. If you're new to this podcast, you can learn so much about me in the 150 plus episodes we have on the show. I share a lot, and at the same time, there's still that mystery there, which you may or may not have noticed. And that is how I'm weaving storytelling into so much of what I do. This truthfully is a huge part of my calling and my mission and my purpose. And I love to share it with you. I'm working so much intentively with my current one-to-one clients on how they can start to extract more stories. And it really inspired me and got me thinking, I need to create a whole training on this for everyone to join it, not just exclusively for my one-to-one clients who are in my world, for you listening to this podcast, so you can learn the art of storytelling in your content, in your branding, whether you have a personal brand, a product, a service, wherever you're at in your journey. Learning the art of storytelling is only going to serve you not only to share and inspire and teach and educate others, also for yourself. What you learn about yourself when you learn how to tell and share your story. I mean, just go back to the start of this episode and just really let every word land. And if you're watching us on YouTube, I've just been smiling this entire time. And that is the outcome of effective storytelling. That is the end of this episode. If you are intrigued, curious, excited to learn more about storytelling marketing, I invite you to join us for our upcoming Bingeable Branding Masterclass, which is all on storytelling, which is all on how you can extract and weave in every story and moment of your life that you desire through your content, through your branding, through your business, whether you have a business, whether you don't have one, whether you have a personal brand, whether you sell products, online servicing, or services in real life. This is applicable for absolutely every single niche. It's the foundations of storytelling. It's the foundations of building a bingeable brand. I'm going to expose everything I did that created the most intrigue, for my audience. And I'm so excited to have you in the class. All the details will be in the show notes. Class is in September. I'll see you there.